What's going on, gang? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Combiner Wars Deluxe Class Brawl. This is the only brand new mold in the out of the Combaticons. All of the other figures are either retools or just refreshes or repaints of molds we've already gotten. Brawl is the first new figure, and right out of the box he looks pretty good. He's got a definite G1 feel. The overall aesthetic of the figure in bot mode is quite good. I think he looks better in tank mode, which we'll be getting into in just a little bit, and I like the aesthetic of the figure. It's too bad that my figure is complete or almost complete and total garbage. There are so many problems with this figure. We'll get into those in just a minute, but I want to show off the figure first. You can remove the turret in tank mode, or the tank turret, and he can wield it in robot mode, just like the original G1 figure. He also comes with a dual barrel cannon combiner port, which he can wield in either bot mode and vehicle mode, either on the sides of his arms or in hand. Okay, so let's take a look at the head sculpt real quick, and then we'll talk about the issues. I do have to admit the head sculpt is really good. It works well and definitely reminds me of his G1 counterpart. All right, now that we've taken a look at the good stuff, let's talk about the bad. His legs. If you do not get the legs connected correctly, and you can see how they're connected, they just slide into place. If they're not connected perfectly, which is actually harder to do than you might think, you're going to have problems. Also, his feet. I've had to reattach this connector pin on mine, on this side, once already, and this has to do with how he forms one of his modes, specifically the foot mode. The pin, and I'm sorry, not that pin, but this pin that is holding on to the foot actually fell out in the first time I transformed him. So that was a problem. The other problems have to do with, one, his left shoulder. The pin here is so amazingly loose, it can't even hold the arm up. And there are ratchet joints in there, which work fine, but, I mean, come on, what is going on here? And that has to do with this pin, which is way too loose. I got to figure out how to fix that. The other issue I have are his hips, or specifically his torso. This connector, which is part of his transformation, is way too loose. It acts like it snaps into place. You could hear it. You could hear it snap into place, but it doesn't hold together well at all. I mean, there's no real friction there. So you'll pick him up and you'll move him and his hip will unpeg. The other connector port to his hip, which is this connection right back here, it's a snap connector, works fine. It's just this one right up front doesn't hold it together very well at all. So even though you try to pose him, he can't really hold any poses with his arm. His right arm works fine. Left arm, you're screwed. Brawl's transformation is actually pretty cool. To start with, we're going to replace the turret on the tank mode, turn his head 180 degrees and fold it back into his back. Come to the arms and the fists, fold the fists forward and then push them up into the arm, like that. Take the shoulders and turn them so that they're pointing forward, and then ratchet them down, and they will peg into place right there. Before we do that, we want to bring the turret up and out of the way so that we can actually get these pegged in, like that. Take the turret and fold it all the way up and forward just to get it out of the way. Take the legs or the hips and turn them 180 degrees, and then unpeg them and fold them up. And they really don't go that far, but fold them up over the thighs and combine them together, and then unpeg the back and fold everything up and sandwich it together, and then take the turret and fold it back and just let it sit there. It doesn't actually peg into place. And that's it. That's the tank mode. Tank mode works pretty well. I just wish it actually pegged into place somewhere. It looks like it's supposed to peg into these sections right here, but that doesn't happen at all. So, yeah. And it looks like it's supposed to go down farther, but it can't because of the head. The head is actually resting on the crotch of the bot mode. And unfortunately, the turret doesn't turn at all. But otherwise, tank mode looks pretty good. Now, there's actually a really cool thing going on with this figure that I'm glad Hasbro added. There's a little thing at the back of the turret. You could flip up this peg, and then you can attach the combiner port to the back, and you get this little anti-aircraft gun setup that the original G1 figure had. That's very cool. I like that a lot. It works really well. I just really dig that. As you can see, you could totally do a tank Gerwalk mode. I love this. Little tank walking. And before we go, I just had to give you guys a quick look at what all the Combaticons look like merged up. Unfortunately, Onslaught has not come out or has not been released at the time of this review, so I have to use Galvatronus. And actually, this works really well for Galvatronus for some reason. I had a lot of hopes for Deluxe Class Brawl. Unfortunately, he has, well, not lived up to any of them. The bot mode looks good, but there are just so many problems that keep him from me recommending him. I can't recommend this figure until Hasbro fixes some of these problems, and I know other reviewers have had the same issues that I have. His vehicle mode is definitely awesome, and the limb modes work pretty well. Otherwise, though, this is definitely a pass, unfortunately. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video review of Brawl. As always, I'm Baltmatrix, asking you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.